Welcome to ScaleUp Heroes, where we bring the best minds with the best real-life experiences when it comes to scaling up businesses. These are the heroes that took on the difficult odds, and they have lived and are living to tell the stories. I'm your host, Randy Cantrell, and to all of our viewers, we would invite you to visit our website, ScaleUpAcademy.io. Today, we're discussing scaling up engineering, and now I'd like to bring in our moderator for today's discussion. He is Pedro Torres. He is the engineering director at Talkdesk. Thanks for leading this conversation today, Pedro.
Hi, thank you, Randy. So, hi everyone, and welcome to this session. So, I have the pleasure to be the moderator, and I have here with me today. I have Anna from Aptoide, and I also have Miguel from Uniplaces, two scale-ups that are based here in Portugal, and that I'm inviting now. I think we can start with you, Anna, ladies first, to present yourself and obviously Aptoide to the people that are following us.
Hello, so my name is Lara Simões. I work here in Aptoide, which is an Android app store. I am the head of Android developer here, and now I am working with two main products, Aptoide app and also in Aptoide TV.
Okay. Hello, I'm Miguel Loureiro here from Uniplaces, so I'm head of technology here. Uniplaces is a marketplace for student accommodation, so our vision is to facilitate everything on the student life during their international experience. And I'm currently working with all the engineering teams and actually scaling from since the beginning, so since 4 years ago. So it's been a very nice opportunity to work here. And looking forward to explain more about it.
Cool. Great to know. By the way, so Miguel is since the beginning of Uniplaces. Anna, how long have you been at Aptoide?
I have been here since 1 year and a half.
Okay.
1 year and a half now.
Okay. So it's a very interesting journey as well. Okay, I think so. We're going to discuss scaling engineering. So I think it's relevant right now for you to let everyone know that is following us right now to understand how big is your engineering team, so that people actually kind of relate to your situation, and then they can create some mapping inside their heads with their current situation. So I think we can begin with you, Anna. So how big is the engineering team at Aptoide?
So here in Aptoide, we are 45 engineers and out of 60 employees.
Okay, very well. And in your case, Miguel?
Okay, here we are 23 engineers, but as individual contributors, we have 16, and out of around 150 employees.
Okay. Tell me one thing. You've just mentioned the individual contributors. So do you have differences between the roles in the engineering? So you mentioned just individual contributors. I imagine that you have people doing other things. Can you give a little bit of an insight? How is the engineering team at Uniplaces organized?
Yeah, so basically we have cross-functional squads. They are divided not only by technology or platform. Here at Uniplaces, they are split by business area. So they are cross-functional because they can work on that specific area from the beginning to the end. But they work in all platforms and all technologies that we have here. We divide the squads by having 3 engineers, 1 product manager, 1 designer, and 1 data guy helping them.
Okay. What about you, Anna? How is things over Aptoide?
So things here in Aptoide changed recently. So after Christmas, we reorganized the company. And right now we are organized by products, which means that we have a team for each product. For instance, I am in Aptoide, Vanilla Aptoide. So we have inside this team, we have 5 Android developers. We have 1 guy that works with the web services for the API. We have also 2 designers, and we have 1 person for the tests and for the QA part. Also, we have a product manager that works with us for this product. And this is an example of the Aptoide team, but also we have the same kind of structure for the Aptoide TV team. And also for instance, for the app coins, they have the engineers and also the product managers and the designers that they need to create the product. So basically, we are right now we are organized as a full stack team.
Okay, very interesting. Actually, I was going to ask this a little bit later on the conversation, but it seems from what both of you are saying is that you clearly favor more vertical teams than horizontal teams in terms of the way that you are organizing the way you do your development. Is that the case?
Yes, right now I can compare as we were organized like before Christmas, because before we were organized by the Android team, the web service team, the backend team, and the designs team. And I believe that during that time it was more difficult to keep the priorities along the different teams. Right now, because we work close with the design and the API team and also the QA team, I think it's much easier to everyone inside the team knows the priorities and to have things done quicker, because everyone is working on the same goals and trying to achieve the same results. So I think comparing as we were used to work and how are we right now, I think this way of having the team, all the people that we need to deliver a product working together, I believe it's better.
Yeah, I agree, and it also depends on the point of view, because I can say that we are divided vertically if we have a business standpoint, but on a technology-wise, you are actually horizontal. It's for development. It makes the whole sense for them to have full autonomy on things and don't stop relying on other teams. And the more flexible they can be, the better.
Okay, very interesting. And tell me one thing. So we've been talking a lot about teams and the way that you want the teams to work. So regarding the development practices, obviously all of us that we are in this industry, we know that Agile is very popular. Probably Scrum is definitely the biggest percentage of adoption. Although we have different flavors, there is also that Spotify model that is very popular, and when you were describing me Uniplaces, it kind of remind me a little bit of that model too. Miguel, how would you describe like the practice of your development? So are you kind of an agile team, Scrum, more into the Spotify model? So how do you work over there?
I think it's a mix, because honestly, I think everyone has their way of doing Scrum. So it's a mix. So we're trying to find out the best practices among all the practices that you see. So what we have is we allow the teams to choose if they want to go Kanban or if they want to go Scrum. We actually allow them also to see like if by doing Scrum, if they want to have sprints for 1 week or 2 weeks. It really depends on team and team dynamics. We want to allow them to actually see what's the best thing for them. But alongside Agile and everything else, I think that we really follow DevOps culture. So it's kind of, again, the mix of everything. We really want to reduce feedback loops, and that is aligned with everything else. So we don't try to follow strictly one or the other. We do have some objectives and some goals that we want to meet. So reducing feedback loops, trying to improve our code, trying to improve the time that we take to release and everything else. This should be our main goal. And then whatever you want to choose, you can choose.
Very interesting. What about
the team can choose?
I don't believe that like one size fits all. So here, for instance, Aptoide Vanilla team is working on Scrum, with Scrum, and we have sprints of 2 weeks. But the other team, like Aptoide TV, it's also working on Scrum, but the sprints are 4-week sprints. And there's another project that is starting right now. And because of that reason, because it's starting right now, we believe that Scrum would not be a good fit. So we decided to go with Kanban. So because it's the first steps of a new product, really the first steps we are researching. So it doesn't make sense to have all this, not complexity, but all these meetings and all these requirements that the Scrum tell us to do. and we should do if we are trying to follow that kind of methodology, doesn't make sense in a project that is just giving the first steps. So that's why we decided to go and follow a Kanban methodology. So yeah, there's other teams working on Scrum with different sprints. We don't have a rule for a sprint size. Every team finds out what it's best for the team.
I think it's great for you to actually take a look into the context and then kind of decide the right approach instead of just kind of blindly follow. I think that's definitely very healthy and the way to go. Since we're talking about scaling engineering teams, one thing that I've seen, I think it's starting to be a trend here in Portugal, but definitely abroad, is something that is very, very common, is to have remote teams, remote engineers working, and obviously that brings different challenges to our engineering teams. So I think we can start with you, Anna. So in terms of remote working, having just one engineer or a full team working in a different location, so how does Aptoide deals with this remote phenomenon?
Yeah, there are people that in some parts during their contract with Aptoide, they have worked remotely. For instance, when we recruit people from abroad, sometimes in the beginning, they start working remotely, and just after a while, if things go well, they move and they come here. Having one person working remotely indefinitely, we don't have that kind of situation. But also because we have people from abroad, it makes sense that they want to go home and maybe spend more days of vacations there and work remotely. So there's a policy for remote work per year, but each case is a case. In the beginning, yes, it happens, but it's not. We don't have a person that is working remotely all the time indefinitely. That doesn't happen.
Well, what about Uniplaces, Miguel?
Yeah, we are actually thinking on expanding like the remote possibilities. Because of a lot of factors like talent pool, it might be easier it's much easier to hire. Like a lot of reasons, like remote work has a lot of benefits, but we also need to think what's really remote. Because for us, remote, and we do have some developers that are indefinitely working remote. But it's like one developer in one squad. It's not like the full squad or like a full function being remote. By when we say remote, like we really need to be remote friendly. And by remote friendly, it's not only allowing developers to be out of the office. It's actually the company needs to be remote also in the office. So you need to prepare with a lot of tools. You need to prepare with the time zones. It's not you can just hire someone in Brazil or that has a difference in 6 to 7 hours, and just let's see that this will work. So yeah, we are exploring this. We really want to increase the talent pool. Not saying that Portugal don't have a lot of talent, but there are specific areas where it makes sense, and also they give us new perspectives. So this is really something that we're looking for.
No, that's very interesting, though, because my take regarding remote is that, so remote to me, it's like almost like twofold, because yes, definitely more talent pool. You can reach to engineers that otherwise would not be possible at all. But then we really need to kind of to weight our options and try to make sure that if we maintain someone in remote on the long run, probably that people will be less engaged or more demotivated.
Yeah. Also, team dynamics is very different.
No, absolutely. So I think it's something that we really need to take in consideration, and I think we need to find like a sweet spot between in office and remote work for us to take full advantage of it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then one thing. So we've talking now. Our conversation has moved a little bit into abroad. So. I think that, let's say 10 years ago or so, Dublin started to be like a very interesting city for people from Europe to move to Dublin to start working. If my memory doesn't fail me, Facebook opened over there, Google, they attract talent from Spain, Portugal, England, Italy, and so. And we've seen actually a lot of people moving into Dublin. Then I think that trend moved a little bit from Dublin to Berlin, and then everybody was moving into Berlin, and we started to see a lot of people moving over there. And now it seems like Portugal, mainly Lisbon, obviously, it seems now to be like the city to be in. So do you see or how easy it is for you to attract talent from the rest of Europe to join Lisbon, or do you see it as something that is quite challenging for you? I don't know, maybe we can start with you, Miguel. So how it is at Uniplaces in terms of attracting talent from abroad to join your team in Lisbon?
It's actually not very hard. Like, I think everyone that comes to Lisbon likes Lisbon, even though they are in other cities. Then it's on you to create brand awareness, not thinking only in Portugal, but also in Europe and other continents. If you do have some brand awareness on a technical perspective, and you find attractive enough to hire someone independently of the location where you're at, like Lisbon it's a plus. So you can use Lisbon as a plus and not as something that should be the deciding factor. It's been quite easy for us to hire from abroad. So it's mostly brand awareness, like think global, and use Lisbon and Portugal, not only Lisbon. Use Portugal to as a plus and not as like the Holy Grail.
Very well.
Yeah, I agree with you when you say that now Lisbon, I think it's like a trendy place to live or to be. So everyone wants to come here. But anyway, I think it's hard. It has been hard for the HR team to recruit talent from abroad. Anyway, we have been doing, although it's not that easy, but we have people here in the office that comes from other places like Brazil or Malaysia. We have a co-worker also from United States, Spain, and England. So yes, we have people from abroad, but as far as I am aware, it's not that easy to bring people here.
Okay. No, that's interesting. I totally agree, because I think that regardless of everything, salaries are a little bit different. Cost of living obviously is also very different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's definitely we have more challenges than, let's say, Dublin, but although we have great weather and food, so then
we have our positive points also.
Absolutely. So tell me one thing. So we've been talking about hiring people, and obviously Aptoide, Uniplaces, Talkdesk, other scale-ups. We are always interested in hiring the right talent, and as soon as we find good talent, we want to hire them because we are growing as a company. So a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months, I've saw a very interesting article from David Einmeier Hansen, DHH. So he's pretty much one of the creators of Ruby on Rails, and he has a company called Basecamp. And he wrote a post very interesting that he pretty much said things are going so well that we are doing a hiring freeze. And this, to me, obviously grab all my attention, because when things are going very well, the companies are usually growing and we want to go even further in them because we want to deliver more to our customers. So usually you see that as long as business is going, the company is growing too. But in this specific case, and this was obviously in the US, somebody said, you know what, this is going everything so well that we are not going to hire anyone for this year. What are your interpretation of DHH words?
I don't know. You need to start or should
you can go ahead, Miguel, if you want.
I can start. Yeah, DHH is a very interesting person. He's very opinionated and also kind of revolutionary on everything he does. And this is probably one of the things that I agree with them. And they're not many. It's one of the things I agree with him. It's actually because it makes the whole sense. If we really have a look on how development works, I think there's a misconception where you think like we are well, let's hire more. If like the company is growing, it's because we need to hire more. It's not necessarily the case. It's because if you really have a look, like you will not be making technical debt or architectural decisions to make your developers more efficient while you're bad at business. You need to be well at the company. The company needs to be healthy to manage to have like for the engineers to sit in, guys, let's think how we can improve. Let's see how we can do better with less. And so it may.
Yeah, he muted for a second.
Oh, you mute yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting. So it's a balance, and I agree. Whenever you see that the business is healthy, it's the best time for you to actually think and scale with like brains and not with like brute force. Let's hire a lot of engineers.
Oh, definitely. What about you, Anna? What's your interpretation of the HH words?
Yeah, I believe that it's hard to grow and keep the culture that you have. And if you are in a good place, growing and still be in that good place, it's hard to achieve. So I understand his words from this point of view, because you want to keep the culture. If you think the culture that you have at the moment, it's good, you want to keep it, and you want to grow well, not grow just by growing. So it's hard to do that.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. I think it's a huge challenge for you to, and in this case, we are lucky enough to have Miguel here. He's from the beginning, Uniplaces, and definitely you face a lot of challenges between, let's say, having a team of 10, then 20, 40, and growing up to 100 or so. Definitely, the company has very momentums, and it's very different, the dynamics that you have when you are very small and you're just like a shy startup, and then all of a sudden you're a scale-up, very successful. And this actually leads me to my next question. That is, how do you maintain your culture with the growth of your team? Or does your culture evolve with time? How do you deal with that?
I think like the culture will always change as you keep growing, but like it's impossible to be always the same. Also, like if you consider doing remote, it will also have an impact on culture. I think it's very, very important. What is really important is to keep the values, like those 2 to 3 values that you really want to have. It's not even only in engineering, but like across the company. Like try to identify your values and stick with them, because it's not because you're three people in a company or 200. Like those values should be there. Like the culture, then the culture will evolve. You will have more values or more ways of working and staying at the company. That will always like evolve. But I think you should keep like 2 to 3 values, and not only in our teams, but always on a company-wide perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. What about you, Anna?
I believe that if the teams are growing, the team should work well together as long as it goes and grows and grows. The integration of the team, I think it's important. Also, if you are in the company since the beginning, and if you are used to have these lines of communication with these other people in the company, I think with the growth of the company, you should be able to keep these lines of communication between everyone in the company. I think if you feel that you start losing the ability to communicate with other people inside the company, that's not a good sign. Also, as Pedro as Miguel was saying, I think it's really important to tell about the mission and the values of the company and have everyone aboard and in line with the mission of the company. I think that's really important.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I think it's very interesting to follow all the evolution of a company and making sure that even the people that are from the beginning still feel engaged with, let's say, the new culture, and they still have the sense of belonging, because obviously as the company evolves, people kind of need to start to re-engage in the company, since the company is completely different with having, let's say, 300 people and with just like 20. So yeah, I totally agree with you, all of you. So tell me one thing. So I think that people are kind of questioning, say, okay, so we are seeing here a couple of very successful companies. Probably everything is like super easy for them. But obviously we know from the inside that all of us, we have tons of challenges, and every single day we face challenges, and it's something that probably it's what makes us going forward. So in your opinion, what's the biggest challenge that you are facing right now in terms of scaling your team? So what's keeping you busy today?
I would say, as I said before, mentioning we were organized in a certain way, and then we changed to this new way. So having people organized by technology and now by product, it has been a big change. And we are working and trying to get better with this new organization. Also, after a while, we start using Scrum. So this methodology is something new for us. So it brings questions and it brings problems, and we are trying to solve, and we are trying to get better using this methodology. So I believe that right now, those are the big two challenge that we have. Thinking as a product team and not as a technology team as we have been doing in the past, and be more comfortable using the Scrum methodologies. I think these are the big problems and that we are facing right now. But I'm sure, but it's going good, and I believe the products will have, you will see better products coming out from this new organization and rearrangements of the teams.
Miguel?
Yeah, like biggest challenge probably communication. As the team grows, like communication is always a problem. And then, oh my God, I forgot the second one. But yeah, it's mostly communication. Okay, and junior to senior balance, because it's very when you really need to hire, like you have those higher goals, and if you don't really specify like the level of seniority that you want, like it's very hard for you to not hire like junior to mid developers when you actually want a senior guy. And then you really feel it on the teams, because you are expecting that level of expertise or like natural mentorship that the teams should have, and they just don't have. Because like even though like the juniors or mid developers might be super hard workers and they can actually deliver, then it will miss like the mentorship part that we need, or the expertise in some specific fields that you'll miss. And then it's all about the balance from juniors to seniors. These are the two main things that we have.
No, I agree. As soon as you start scaling, communication gets much trickier, and making sure that everybody is involved and in the loop. Definitely, that's like almost like a nightmare, because there is so much you can do.
Then it's not only communication; it's like what you really want to communicate. What do you really need to communicate? And like it's a challenge.
No, very well. And tell me one thing. So we're talking a little bit more about engineers and making sure that they are all on the same page. And obviously, I'm pretty sure, just like Talkdesk, Aptoide, Uniplaces, we are all searching for engineers. So Anna, in your case in Aptoide, and now let's say if by some reason we have engineers listening to us and kind of wondering, I actually would like to join one of these companies. What does Aptoide look for on an engineer?
On engineering. We are looking for talent engineers. We are looking for people that are able to solve problems and not be afraid of problems. If you are working with technology, things change so fast, so quick, all the time. You have to keep yourself updated with what's going on. Also, we are looking for people with initiative. And also, it's really important to be a good team player, because here we all work in teams. So you are not going to work by yourself, isolated in a corner. So it's really important to work and be able to work in a team. So I would say talent, have a problem, solving problems, a kind of mindset, and also be a good team player.
What about you, Miguel?
I actually have 4 that I always look. It's basically creativity at problem solving, passion, mentorship, and empathy. And I say like mentorship because we are always trying to find like the 10x developer. So it's impossible to always find a 10x developer, but it's very good to make someone to be one. And it's for us, it's very good. Like passion is super important for him to keep growing. It's impossible for an engineer to just be stuck in a technology or in a way of doing things. Problem solving, like creativity, is very important for us. We don't really care like if you code in one language or another. Like it's super important to actually like solve the problem. This is what engineers do. Empathy, because it's also you can have the best developer you can get if he doesn't work in a team. Not only in engineering, like understand the struggles that other teams have. They need to like to empathize with that. And then mentorship, it's again like a good engineer needs to be a multiplier to the other ones.
Cool. Okay, I think I can relate with both of your descriptions. Definitely, we want smart people and brave enough to take chances. At least that's what I tell to my guys. Like, don't be afraid of taking risks. Otherwise, magic won't happen. So we talked about hiring, right? So scaling, we want to hire people, want to grow as a company. Another very interesting point here that we have is regarding the retention, right? So we want to hire people, but we don't want the people that we currently have to leave, right? And just like we mentioned, Lisbon is now a very trendy city. Portugal is coming out of the news. Now we have the Web Summit, and so we have a lot of things that pretty much are turning all the attention to Portugal. Even more companies opening. You know, we've talked about Google opening in Lisbon, Amazon opening in Porto. So a lot of startups and scale-ups. But besides that, big companies from abroad that want to open an office or I don't know, it's an office, not a headquarters, but something like a presence here in Portugal. So how hard it is for you to retain your talent? What sort of strategies do you use? Do you see that as something that is impacting you a lot, or actually is not that case?
I think it has not been very hard to retain the talent here. There are people that are here in Aptoide since the beginning, since the very beginning, and it's quite I would say like more than 5 that are here since the beginning. So, but I think there's a good environment to work here, and between all the teams and the people inside. And I think this all, of course, helps the retention. And I think that's the good environment for work. I think it's one of the key points. Also, on the other side, and more recently, we tried to talk about the mission and the vision of the company to everyone in an open way. And having that in mind, we start working with OKRs and to have this vision not only for the year but also for each quarter. And so we have been having these sessions per quarter talking about the vision of the company, and I think that also helps. If everyone knows where are we going and what are the goals and what are the main objectives.
Yeah, cool. On our side, I think retention starts on hiring actually. So if you hire passionate developers and you can feed them with information and keep them growing, and have a very clear career path, their retention will work. So here at Uniplaces, for instance, we don't have. Like, it's very rare to have someone leaving us before, like, after 2 years. The average is 2 to 3 years. The people that left, they were mostly, it was mostly personal reasons, like they really wanted to go abroad or something else. Like, I think, and again, retention is very important to have a clear career path. Make developers, feed the developers with information, make them think they are developing and being better professionals. And then it's like the whole culture thing that we were talking about, like keeping these three main things. I think it's the most important thing, and it's been working for us.
Very well. You know, actually about retention, I think that's very, very hard for us as scale-ups to retain people, because I think today we have a lot of challenges to make sure that our people stay with us. And I've seen a very interesting article a couple of weeks ago. I think it was from HBR, Harvard Business Review, and they published the retention period of a Silicon Valley engineer. And I think like the maximum amount of time that someone would stay in the company, and this is more for comparing with other industries, was 2 years, and it was at Google. Then a little bit below that, I think it would be like 1 year and 10 months or so. Then you have Facebook, and then you have all the others. So, and that was pretty much it. So imagine yourself in Silicon Valley hiring someone and probably saying, okay, so I'm going to have this guy for 2 years and that's it.
That's the maximum.
Exactly.
If
you're lucky. And that's hard for us as companies, because we attract the right talent. We educate them, we give them the right experience, the right tools, and they grow with us. And as soon as you notice,
goodbye.
There you go to another adventure. But well, I think it's the way of life. I think I have Randy. Do we have time for one last question?
You do.
Okay, cool. So I have one last question for you. So we're talking about scaling, right? So, for instance, here at Talkdesk, we started in Lisbon and obviously in San Francisco. But as soon as we noticed, we were opening an office in Porto too, because we want to hire more talent. We've noticed that some people from Porto were not that keen to move into Lisbon and the other way around. So we opened more locations to make sure that we can attract more talent. And even in the US, we are now opening an office in Salt Lake City. So taking consideration now Aptoide and Uniplaces, so both of these companies were born in Lisbon. So did you already have plans to move into, not move, but to open a new location? Do you think this is something that it would make sense in your reality, or this is something that never crossed your mind?
Yeah, right now Aptoide has offices here in Lisbon, Singapore, and also in China. Right now, no one said anything. It's in 2018 that is not going to happen. After, not sure of it, but for now, we are not. It's not in the plans to open another office.
Oh. What about Uniplaces, Miguel?
Yeah, I'm really looking for that for 2 years, 2 years now. I really believe in the talent that Porto, Coimbra, Braga, for instance, have. The ecosystem is really growing a lot, and I really see that the quality is awesome. And it will be good for us to also have we have offices in other cities like in Europe also, but it's mostly we don't have development there. I would really love to, and we have some plans to open office in another city in Portugal, to actually improve the talent pool again and let's use Portugal and not only Lisbon.
Okay, I totally agree. I think that obviously it's very easy for us to just focus on the capital. But yeah, at least I'm talking for myself. I'm based in Porto too, so definitely in Porto we have a lot of talent. Just like Miguel said, we have Braga, Aveiro, so city is very close to Porto with a lot of very interesting talent that comes out of college every single year. So yeah, I think that's definitely a logical choice for a company that wants to grow, to start having more offices, making sure that they can attract the talent that they need. Randy, I think that's it from my side. I just want to thank Anna and Miguel for being so kind to be with us and to answer all these questions and being awesome. Back to you, Randy.
Yeah, and thank you, Pedro. Good discussion. We especially want to thank our audience for being with us on Facebook Live. You can find us here every Monday to watch another episode of Scale Up Heroes. Visit ScaleUpAcademy.io to learn more about us. And if you like the show, we hope that you'll hit that like button and share today's show. I'm your host, Randy Cantrell, and next week we're going to talk about scaling marketing. So until then, have a good one.
Bye-bye. Bye.